Since first we had evolution of district administration. So this is our district administration. So when we talk district administration, it is an administrative unit. So let's say like we have union. So territorially, a country is divided, union, state, and then district. Yes. So district becomes from union perspective a smallest area unit for administration, which we say it as also area administration. This. So in modern times, India evolving as a territory, let's say that. No regulating act, then Pitt's India Act. So gradually it started emerging as a territorial unit. Once it emerged as a territorial unit, so that territorial unit they wanted to divide in terms of provinces and district. That is how district was created as area unit, this during British time. And when this district created, so then it was headed by district magistrate, which name was also district collector. This we'll talk what is the difference, etc. You know that this district collector was created. The office or district administration was found by Warren Hastings. Lord Warren Hastings' time it was created. This, and it was, let's say, further gradually it got strengthened. So already you know regulating it 1773. Thereafter developments we have told a bit, and then district was further divided. It will be subdivided. District will have subdivision. This it is subdivision. This subdivision is further divided into basically circle, and then further it is village. This the circle can be known by paragna also, taluk also, depending on the states. This you can say. And then let's say subdivision. The subdivision came to be headed by SDM. We know subdivisional magistrate. This circle we can also mention it tehsil. This either you have circle officer, CO you say, or you have tehsildar. This and village. At village level depends on different. As of now we have Patwari, isn't it? Patwari, Lekhpal. There you have Canon Code. He is at higher level. So gradually, let's say that this area structure was created as district administration, and district magistrate power at district level was concentrated. It was like a bureaucratic structure. Power at this level was concentrated in the hand of district magistrate as the head. No. And dream post for you. Isn't it? Hence, district was strengthened during British time. Beginning from Warren Hastings to others, they started strengthening district administration. Why they started strengthening district administration? So that people will be happy. People will have less grievance. When people will have less grievance, there will be less chance for any revolt and creating trouble for the colonial power. Remember first chapter, Wilson, comparative study, and French and German administration, monarchical system. Why they make administration efficient? To reduce grievances of public. Less grievance means less trouble for the colonial power. Therefore, they started empowering district magistrate, and district magistrate was empowered even with judicial powers, revenue powers, judicial powers, ministerial powers. In a way, he became government in himself, let's say that. District magistrate was government. अभी भी वही है. So it's a government, let's say that. The government, you can say that. Government at district level, which came to be known as also my Bab. Right. My Bab, little Napoleon, that kind of thing. Yes, little Napoleon, my Bab, Lat Sahib, this Malikar, sorry to say that. So ये सारे कुछ यूपी वाले हैं, बाकी सब this. He was so powerful, let's say that. Power concentrated in the hand of district magistrate. And if you remember chapter 1, paper 2, we have told evolution also a bit. British administration, administrative system. Basically, they set up an administrative system, a strong administrative system, efficient system, and he represented a high level of meritocracy. And his personality, let's say, district magistrate belonging to Indian civil service. So that, they, let's say, coveted service will find that their personality, the meritocracy, and then their powers given, everything concentrated in their hand. In a government, let's say, even you give magisterial power, you give judicial power, you give revenue power, you give, at that level, everything concentrated. Entire district worked under the control of district magistrate. All other functionaries will try to derive authority through district magistrate. And that is how district administration was established. This establishment, let's say, the way we told ki centralization of power happened. So phase first, if you remember, 1773 to 1853. This 1773 to 1853. याद है? Right. कोई बात नहीं. So, phase first, concentration of power. There was no any democratic system. And it was imperialism also, colonial power, expansion of, let's say, imperialism, all sort of things. Right. It was phase second that they started, right, bringing in democratic aspects. So that is called 1858 to 1935. So what they did is that they started introducing democratic aspects. Democratic aspects means they started creating a parallel system. A parallel system they started developing. And this parallel system was to, let's say that, shift power from district administration to that parallel system. That parallel system was related to local self-government. That is also called democratic decentralization even before independence. The local self-government, and then its first important step was taken in 1882. Lord Ripon resolution on local self-government. Lord Ripon became father of local self-government during British time. If Cornwallis was father of civil service during British time, similarly Lord Ripon is also father of local government in British time. Lord Ripon local self-government resolution. In modern times, whatever the local self-government you see, it is because of Lord Ripon resolution, which introduced a liberal system of local government, as against the traditional system of our local government, which is based on Sabha, Samiti, Panchayat, and 5 panchas. This is how you'll find that, rather than elections. But it was a system of election, which will tell separately evolution of local self-government when we'll take you rural development and Panchayati Raj when we'll start there. So that is how it is started. Hence, when you introduce local self-government, it will result into shifting of powers. They started shifting powers. Plus then, let's say the government of India 19 and 19. Local self-government was made as a transferred subject. And finally, Government of India, let's say, and elections were also held. By 1919, elected governments were formed. So when elected governments will be formed, so there will be a democratic, the administration will come under control of democratic government. This, although at local level elections were not, it was state and union level, but elections were held. So that is how you can say that. And then 1935, local body was made state subject, but that's not the point because it did not come into effect. Rather, this continued to remain in effect. So they tried to reduce the power of district magistrate by giving power to way of democratic governance. But that remained weak. On the whole it remained weak. It means still independence. District administration and district magistrate remained very powerful, concentrated, centralized. It symbolized more an administrative system with a centralization of power and let's say bureaucratic type of rule. That is how before independence. Why it was set up, etc. When while dictating, I will tell you. Just we want to give you an overview of this. Now let's take that 47 onwards. 47 onwards. You know that we adopted a written constitution? No. Is it like that? Yes. With fundamental rights. So citizens were given fundamental rights. In that time, citizens were treated like subject. But now they had something which they can challenge against the government with enforceability. Then we adopted a system of parliamentary democracy with popular government, elected government, this you can say. This. Then when we adopted this, thereafter then we started also setting Panchayati Raj institutions. That's since 1958. We started setting, let's say that. This following down the line, let's say that we set up District Rural Development Agency, 1980, which shifted the power of development administration to a separate functionary known as District Development Officer, or let's say DRDA was made responsible for development administration, not district magistrate. Means development administration power of district magistrate was shifted towards separate functionary. This, and finally let's say that we brought 73rd and 74th Amendment. It was again an attempt like this. Again we have attempted after independence. What Britishers failed, we tried to be successful. So we also started to create a parallel system of this, that is called local self-government. We'll have to see how much successful we are. By the time it will take 2 chapters to understand all the things, isn't it? So then you'll understand. So we also created like this, we took like this. And by the time those citizens became master blaster, isn't it? Citizens became aware, human rights, RTI, citizen charter, blah, blah, e-governance. No. So citizens also became very aware. No. This. So let's empowered citizen. This is called changes after independence. Changes after independence or even democratic decentralization. The changes after independence, what are the changes and whether changes have resulted into change in the district administration structure which was created and power during British time. This is what we have to understand. And changes are not only related to this local self-government, since we are teaching in public administration also, no, functional classification. Functional classification has also happened at district level. No. So let's functional classification, like we have created at district level. You have this health, we have education, other blah blah thing. So you have chief medical who commits offense suicide, then education, inspector. Yes, especially in Uttar Pradesh. Right. इसलिए कि people are healthy तो उसको कोई काम ही नहीं है, isn't it? बाकी जो काम है पुलिस कर देती है. So the question is right. Functional classification, remember what? Ecology of administration, rigs. There we have told structure and function. This basically colonial time we were more fused society. Right? But when we got independence, thereafter we started prismatic. This now we are heading towards diffracted. So functional classification happens. At district level also there is functional classification, the way it has happened at union level. During British time you did not have departments, they govern because their main role was to maintain stability and security. After independence you have created several such ministry departments, education, health, blah blah, other rural development, Ministry of Rural Development, Urban Development. So if you have created such ministries at national level, so you will have also at state level. Then you will have to also have those functional unit at district level. This, so that is how you have a chief medical officer, health functionary. He heads health department at district level, and he is not under formal control of district magistrate. Informal control है, formal नहीं है. District magistrate does not enjoy formal control on chief medical officer or education inspector. Rather they are independent functionaries. But district level पे मान लो कोई आके जो दो चार थप्पड़ मार देगा, तो इसलिए they have to be under control of district magistrate. No. Anyhow, this is functional classification. Basically what we are trying to say is whether all such developments have resulted into change in district administration which was established during British time, or it remains more or less same powerful, concentrated, bureaucratic. Yes. So in nutshell, isn't it? It remains bureaucratic, it remains centralized, it remains the way they establish. Because whatever we have tried to establish, they have not become so strong enough that they can become substitute of district magistrate or substitute of district administration. Like PRIs are not that strong enough. Elected functionaries are not that strong enough, let's say. So somehow, let's say, the situation which is like neither district magistrate has been fully disempowered nor Panchayati Raj have been fully empowered. The situation remains between somewhere called disillusionment of both. This, because neither of them is empowered. And when neither of them is empowered, तो फिर किसका होगा वहाँ पे बोलबाला? जिसके पास पावर है, district magistrate. That's why it remains your dream post also. Isn't it? The day you remove district magistrate post, what will happen? BTech ही अच्छा था. Isn't it? It will not motivate you. Is it like that? It may not motivate you. Yes. And that's why you will like to have the legacy of district magistrate. No. You will not like to bring change. That is how it has happened. So this is what we have to talk today. So it is not a long chapter. It is one class chapter basically. Because other things we have to teach gradually in other chapters. This PRIs and law and order. That is how it is. So let's start writing on this. District administration represents one of the most important legacy of legacies of British administration. British administration. It was established in modern times. It was established in modern times as a smallest unit of area administration. The smallest unit of area administration to strengthen administrative system for maintaining stability and order. And pursuing colonial agenda. Change paragraph. District administration as area unit was set up after Regulating Act 1773 and district collector post was created. During Lord Warren Hastings as the head of district administration. It was created with following objectives. First, establishing an efficient administrative system. Especially at district level. Next, revenue collection for strengthening finances of British administration. Next, reducing grievances of people to curtail chances of revolts. Therefore, district administration headed by district collector performed broadly three functions. First, law and order administration. Next, judicial administration. Next, revenue administration. Next, revenue administration. Since later, due to separation of powers, powers. Judicial administration. Role was divested. Role was divested, and hence district collector performed first as head of law and order administration, second revenue administration, which remain prominent functions of district collector. Prominent functions of district collector. Second paragraph. Since there was centralization of administration between 1773 to 1853, with establishment of civil services, and codification of law by Lord Cornwallis. District collector became the most powerful functionary at district level. As he became head of district administration. Note. District collector name is due to revenue administration. Initially it was the main function. That collection of revenue at district level, which was essential for the strength of the colonial power. Next, since district collector was also given magisterial powers, including some judicial powers in revenue matters. District collector also came to be known as district magistrate. Change in paragraph. Indian Police Act 1861. Indian Police Act 1861. It further strengthened the power of district magistrate. By legally empowering district magistrate as head of law and order administration. Legally empowering district magistrate as head of law and order administration. Head of law and order administration. It gave power of superintendence, control and supervision on superintendent of police, that SP would work under the supervision and control of district magistrate. So you should know that that was the height of empowerment to district magistrate. You think that police SP is head of police at district level. The SP is head of police, but he is not head of law and order administration. Yeah, the person who does not have anything to do with law and order administration is head of law and order administration. No, district magistrate. This we have to understand. So gradually you will understand all these things, right? Anyhow, and similarly, Home Ministry is in a way head of law and order administration. But Home Secretary is not IPS. Right. Even Home Secretary is also IAS. Right. मतलब पुलिस लॉ एंड ऑर्डर भी पुलिस के हाथ में नहीं है, वो भी IAS के ही हाथ में है. This, it is good or bad. After 2 chapters, you should judge yourself. This, so that is what we can consider. So initially, let's say that their idea was revenue. You know that revenue and pigeons, etc. They collected revenues from peasantry class, and that was the main source of revenue. And the revenue is needed for your colonial agenda. Know that without finances you cannot run it. So district magistrate role was mainly for revenue administration. The revenue administration was the main role initially because law and order was not a challenge. Because that time still people did not have idea of independence. This freedom, independence, isn't it? Gradually the idea started coming. Initially they did not face the challenge. In fact, it was a smooth, right, taking over on East Indian Company. They had a very smooth transition from a commercial undertaking to a political and administrative undertaking. There was no resistance. So that time the main idea was to collect revenue. The collection of revenue resulted into, this is how district magistrate known as district collector. But gradually law and order started becoming challenge. Especially revolt, let's say, revolt and after. They realized the revolt, let's say that 1857 and thereafter. That's why Indian Police Act was introduced. Indian Penal Code was introduced, 1860 Indian Penal Code. Similarly, let's say there's Indian Police Act, then Criminal Procedure Code, Civil Procedure Code. All these things they went on, let's say they establishing, developing, means they went on not establishing a policing system but also a judicial and criminal justice system which favored them. This, and that is how one phase of, let's say, district magistrate you can say. Thereafter, this is how, let's say that. Right. Since 1858 to 1935, 1858 to 1935, there was giving into democratic demands. There was giving into democratic demands and an act of decentralization. There were attempts to reduce powers and functions of district magistrate, and shift powers and functions to local self governments. Local self governments. Local self governments. Like first, Lord Ripon resolution. Lord Ripon resolution on local self government, 1882. 1882. Government of India Act, 1919. And Government of India Act, 1935. 1935. Even elected government was also formed. Even elected government was also formed under elected government was also formed under Government of India Act 1919. Change paragraph. However, such developments were not very strong due to colonial outlook, and hence district administration headed by district magistrate remained all powerful that it came to be characterized by first the fifth wheel. Fifth wheel of British Empire, British administration. The fifth wheel of British administration. Right. तो फिफ्थ व्हील का मतलब क्या है? What is the significance? The four wheels have no meaning if there is no fifth wheel. The British Empire will not run without fifth wheel. That is how the meaning, isn't it? Fifth wheel if you remove तो क्या होगा? No, cart will not move. That is how the significance of fifth wheel. Right? Next point. Little Napoleon. Next point, Little Napoleon. Next is Kingpin. Kingpin of British administration. Yes, Kingpin of British administration. काफी है इतना? Right. ये सारे नाम है, पता आप भी एंजॉय करोगे अपने टाइम पे, isn't it? Right. Let's try that further. He was also known as My Bap, Lord Sahib. He was also known as My Bap, Lord Sahib. That is a sort of government of the district. That is a sort of government of the district, and people had faith in him. People had faith in him and wanted to have glimpses of district magistrate. Wanted to have glimpses of district magistrate. District magistrate. Right. This is how we'll know that कि अभी भी ऐसा है बहुत सारे एरिया में, खासकर the more the backward area, the greater the need for glimpses of district magistrate, isn't it? क्यों लोगों को लगता है कि वो अच्छे आदमी है, isn't it? It's this, he is a good person. एक बार वो उनका नजर हमारे तरफ पड़ जाएगा तो धन्य हो जाएगा. दिस हमारा ग्रीवांस तो सिर्फ एक बार हमें देखने दो. That is how people have still so much faith in district magistrate. A positive side. The negative side of my bap is this Bharat, let's say, this Sarkar Raj, authoritarian approach. This. So my bap has both positive connotation, negative connotation. So my bap is one positive कि people give in to you, let's say, people think that कि you are the government and you are a good person, you can give justice to us, they want to have your glimpses. The other side is that it's authoritarian, this bureaucratic, authoritarian, colonial, that kind of thing you can say this, treating people as subject. So let's write district administration after independence. District administration after independence. Since a new polity was established, and state assumed positive character. State assumed positive character. From police state to welfare state. Positive character from police state to welfare state. Welfare state. Police state to welfare state. The role of district magistrate underwent tremendous changes. Following are the major developments. First, so you can write first this. Following are the major developments. Now, so this one is, let me refer this. So, following are the major development means this, isn't it? You can write A and move ahead. Then, so let's write it. Other developments are first. Citizens have become more active, aware. And empowered due to social accountability tools. Next, active media and civil society organizations. Next, anti-corruption and accountability institutions, including Human Rights Commission. Next, objective of citizen-centric administration and good governance. Objective of citizen-centric administration and good governance. Change paragraph. That is, today the role of administration is not only stability order, and security, but also development, good governance, and citizen-centricness, in which they have to become pro-citizen rather than colonial and bureaucratic. And hence, power and functions of district magistrate has undergone changes and it is less centralized. More democratic. बट ये तो थियरी में बोलने के लिए है, एक्चुअल में है कि नहीं अभी वो ग्रेजुअली पता चलेगा. One by one when we'll talk other topics. Let's write about role and functions of district magistrate. Role and functions of district magistrate. First, revenue administration. It is a traditional role. Which has drastically reduced after independence. As revenue collection from peasantry class was discontinued. Revenue collection from peasantry class was discontinued. However, there are new sources of revenue generation. Like land and market development, local taxes, digitalization of land records, and hence there is a renewed scope to improve revenues, revenues collections at district level. So basically, let's say it is a role which has completely, let's say, undergone changes. Before independence, the land revenue, basically the peasantry class, largely they collected the taxes from peasantry class because market was not developed. Land development was not a concept at all because land is owned by the government. There was no market. Hence, we can say that in a way, when we got independence, so somehow let's say that revenue administration gone like this. Further, it is improving. If you take 1947, this so there will be a drastic change. Let's say that it can be further steep decline. You can say like this. Now we are trying to find new avenues, new ways of land revenue development. That is called land development. Whatever the government land, you can develop it. That is called monetization. You can develop that land. That land can give you revenue. Plus market development. You can bring development of the market of that area. Various types of fees are collected. You can collect fees, etc. Those you can see this. So, plus another aspect is land record maintenance. Land record maintenance has also its benefit, like say Swamitva scheme government has. And under that, if land is properly, let's say online, it is record is maintained. You know that this is your land, so then its valuation is nowadays being done. The land valuation is being done. That results into people, those who are, let's say, especially let's say struggling class, they can sell some parts of their land, they can generate. These kind of developments are happening. There can be new aspects of revenue administration, but it is not as important as it used to be during British time, because British time it was the main function, the two main function, law and order and revenue administration. This, let's write next point, law and order administration. It is the main function of district magistrate. It is the main function of district magistrate that he is the head of the law and order administration. He is the head of law and order administration as per Indian Police Act. Indian Police Act. He is also known as executive magistrate. He is also known as executive magistrate as he has decision making powers. He has decision making powers as per different laws of the government, as per different laws of the government at district level, like invoking section 144, under criminal procedure code, next, invoking net shutdown, as per the IT Act and other rules. Special powers under Disaster Management Act 2005. The special power under Disaster Management Act 2005. paragraph, that is, he has law enforcement powers. He has law enforcement powers for maintenance of law and order. Law and order. Law and order. Hence, he exercises control over police and prison. Police and prison. Police and prison. He conducts law and order administration. He conducts law and order administration through conducts law and order administration through district police head. District police head, SP. See, since we have a separate chapter on law and order, so there is no, let's say that any, it means it will be repetition if we teach so much here. That's why that chapter, that topic, imperatives of development administration and law and order administration. Once you know law and order administration, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि development administration क्या होता है. Law and order administration is not only, let's say that case, having security angle. Law and order का मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं होता है. It is not only meant to find out those who are thieves and etc. and stop murder and this and that. Law and order administration has socio-economic dimensions, much more than security dimensions. जैसे कोविड क्राइसिस बढ़ गया, मतलब कोविड क्राइसिस आया, जॉब लॉस होगा और चोरी बढ़ गया. पता है आपका तो कुछ चोरी नहीं हुआ है ना अभी तक. सो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, अभी जिस एरिया में मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ से लेट्स से दैट कि देयर वाज अ अटेम्प्ट फॉर child, let's say that one, let's say, so kidnapping, this you can say this. So the question, you know that कि number of, let's say, और हमारे एरिया में वहाँ पे थोड़े रिच लोग हैं तो ऐसे ऐसे गाड़ी नहीं चुराते हैं, वो मर्सिडीज मर्सिडीज नहीं ले जाते हैं, उसका जो रियर हो जो लाइट होते हैं ना कॉस्टली होते हैं. वो तो लॉक्ड है, वो उसको ले जाना मर्सिडीज को मुश्किल है, बट वो anyhow, the question is that these kind of activities, even if there is a security guard, there is CCTV camera, right? But that's not the point. That's why that is called development imperatives. So, ऐसे समझ लो आप कि this called farmers protest happened 1 year back. Why it happened? Is it related to development or it is related to law and order? Development. It is related to development. Agriculture. प्रॉब्लम इन एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर तो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर तो है नहीं, वो तो एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर के क्राइसिस से रिलेटेड है, एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर के पॉलिसी से रिलेटेड है. बट सिंस यू आर नॉट एड्रेसिंग द ग्रीवेंस और वट एवर द पॉलिसी मैटर्स, दैट पोजेज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर challenges. This is how it is. Recently near Tughlaqabad, court order and some jhuggis etc. houses were, you know that, बुलडोजर चलाया उन्होंने. This, what is the ground in the court? Illegal such mohallas, encroachments create law and order problem. ये जाके उन्होंने चैलेंज किया कोर्ट में, और जो जज है, सॉरी टू से दैट, वो भी पैट्रियार्कल ही है. उसको भी लगा हाँ सही कह रहे हो, it creates law and order problem, isn't it? तो उस मोहल्ले, the people belong to poor locality, if they people have stolen your one, let's say that ki rear, let's say light, so you think that they are, these people are like that, isn't it? Because they are poor people. Or once your housemate stole something, isn't it? So you think that कि these are people are ऐसे ही है, और आपने ऑफिस से बहुत बड़ा चोरी किया हुआ है. वो दिखता नहीं है, isn't it? Basically, one good article was written by City Planner on in Indian Express, I guess, that article. It is a very good article. You should read it for ethics perspective. He argues this was an ethical problem, not a legal problem. But they have tried to solve from legal perspective. It is ethical problem that where your people should live. This, it's problem of urban planning. This, an urban planning problem, it's a development problem, but you are dealing as law and order problem. This. अब वो क्या करेंगे, मान लो एक यूनियन बना के कल से प्रोटेस्ट करना शुरू करेंगे, अब वो हो जाएगा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम. दिस अभी तक वो नहीं था. बट सपोज दे फॉर्म ए यूनियन एंड देन दे, जैसे भोपाल गैस ट्रेजेडी, जब तक ट्रेजेडी हुआ वो एक डेवलपमेंट प्रॉब्लम है, वो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इट इज रिलेटेड टू योर इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. आपने ऐसे कैसे अलाउ किया, right, your plant and design and regulation. Yes, anyhow, but जब people लोगों का grievance address नहीं होता है तो they form an union and they start protesting. When they start protesting, so you treat them as law and order threat. This understanding you will yourself get by the time we reach to law and order administration. This. Right. That's why district magistrate is head of law and order administration, not police. This is it. Because law and order administration is not merely related to security aspect. Rather, security challenges emanate from development challenges. This are socio-economic challenges. If you want to address law and order challenge, address socio-economic challenge. This, since we do not address socio-economic challenge, then counter is the solution. This, that is how we try to do. That time will also come. So we will not repeat it, but it has become very important. Law and order is the main function. At the same time, it has become very important, very challenging. You can see what is happening in Manipur. Out of nothing. Yes. So such challenge, दिल्ली में तो प्रोटेस्ट चलता ही रहता है, मतलब, isn't it? So कुछ ना कुछ भाई सेंटर है, कैपिटल ऑफ द कंट्री, isn't it? So at times you will find this law and order challenge. You will find that in certain part of the country, somewhere you as a district magistrate face a huge challenge. You have to always remain on your toes. You don't know that what will happen. And forget about, nothing happens in your district, something happens in any other state, your district is affected. This Sushant Singh committed suicide in Maharashtra, or disturbance कहाँ है, बिहार में. That is how it is. So that way there are serious challenges for law and order. That's why it has become very important also, and legally he is empowered also for law and order administration. And then let's write next. Development administration. Development administration. Development administration. Since India adopted since India adopted development planning, administration was also given development role. Administration was also given development role, like first community development program, and creation of block development officer. Next, district magistrate was made chairman of Jila Parishad. District magistrate was made chairman of Jila Parishad. Change paragraph. By and large, till 1992, there were two models. In development administration. First, Gujarat-Maharashtra model, in which a separate functionary known as district development officer was made responsible for development. Who was also IAS officer. Second, Tamil Nadu Rajasthan model. Model in which district magistrate was made responsible for development administration. That is, in general, it can be said that till 1990s, there was a bureaucratic approach. In development administration, in which district magistrate played head of development process at district level. Change paragraph. By 73rd, 74th Amendment Act, an attempt was made to create a third-tier democratic structure and shift development function to local self-governments. At the same time, LPG and governance approach introduce introduce role of market and civil society organizations. Role of market and civil society organizations. Hence, such developments have drastically reduced the role of district magistrate in development process. However, still he remains general manager of district, which results into directly or indirectly, all the functions at district level, getting supervised by district magistrate. So again, when we'll take rural development, there you will understand it, because we'll talk the other side, what are the developments. Especially 90s onwards, 73rd Amendment, then 74th Amendment. So once you come to know that how better we have 73rd Amendment, 74th Amendment, already you know other things, civil society, LPG, this and that. When you know these things, so they are not as important as local bodies. So basically what we have done is that we want that there should be a 3-tier structure. That I was showing this. Yes, we want that there should be a 3-tier structure. Means we want that this structure should be stronger than this. Let's say, so if X and Y, we want Y to be stronger than X. Then you will be able to reduce shift. Otherwise, it is not possible. Yes. So there are lots of challenges in this regard. Challenges we'll talk when we'll teach it. So if you take development administration, what we are trying to say is, since we adopted, you know about development administration, how it was, then you know also development planning also you know. Development administration, development planning, they gave more role to administration. It's administration centric. This after independence, it is also executed through administration. It is also executed through administration. You can imagine that we had community development program 1952 and we started Panchayati Raj institutions 1958. This almost 10 years of independence. Almost 10 years of independence, how the development was done? By bureaucracy. It was the bureaucracy responsible. Even if we started setting these PRIs, development administration means already you know it is about formulation of schemes and programs and their administration. So several schemes and programs that we have initiated between, let's say, 1950 to 1990s. So who will be implementing at district level? District level, all those schemes, they will all route through district magistrate. There were no any other functionary. Parallel to that, till 1990s, you have several programs, CDP, you have ICDS, right, 20-point Garibi Hatao, isn't it? That program, Indira Awas Yojana, blah, blah things. How they will be implemented? And there were two models, as we have told, Gujarat and Maharashtra model. In Gujarat Maharashtra model, what means? Some states followed Gujarat Maharashtra model, means they created a separate functionary, district development officer. And already you had at block level, block development officer. So separate functionaries were created, but can they operate without his supervision role? At their own peril, sorry to say that. As I told you that कि कोई भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे क्या कर सकता है. यूपी बिहार में जो माहौल है पता ही है आपको. राइट. सो डर होता है बाकी सारे ऑफिसर्स, खासकर उत्तर प्रदेश एंड बिहार. बस तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट का सपोर्ट चाहिए. डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट का सपोर्ट नहीं है तो और सपोर्ट के लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? एटलीस्ट हैव ए ड्रिंक विद डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट. अगर दोनों ड्रिंक करते हैं तो अच्छा सिम्बियोटिक रिलेशन होता है. राइट. अच्छा तरीका है ना, आप गए उसके यहाँ और ड्रिंक भी लेके गए, जनरेट वो कोई मना करेगा नहीं. Right. Anyhow, what question we are saying? You have to be in the good book of district magistrate. That is how it is. Even if officially you are not under his control, but somehow unofficially you remain. And government cannot ask reports from so many functionaries. For convenience, what it does? It seeks report from DM. And since DM is responsible to the state and union government, you know what he will do? Teller principle. Right. Since he is made answerable to them, he will make others answerable to him. This. तो वो बोलेगा ना, क्या पता है, मुझे जवाब देना पड़ता है. Anyhow, तो ये सारा जो culture है, this is a culture you will find this. So even if you, let's say, reduce, you want to establish a panchayati raj system, urban local bodies, you want to bring private sector, others, but at the end of the day, he still remains very powerful. This. And there is also, let's say, concentration of power, that is how. But here we do not want to tell. We'll tell when we'll be teaching panchayati raj institutions. This. So that way we can say, so we were trying to bring development through development administration, bureaucratic approach. In that also we have tried to bring democratic approach, but that was very, let's say that key, weak between this to this. Thereafter we have tried to bring development through democratic approach. But then we have to see that how it has been successful or there is a mixed result. That's why the question yesterday you were reading, bureaucratic model. The bureaucratic model question is this question. It is more related to this, not PSH. Let's write other next function. Welfare functions. Welfare functions. Since district magistrate is head of district administration on the one hand, and the government is responsible for welfare of people. The district magistrate has to ensure that first people grievances are redressed. Benefits of programs reach to people. Like some of the socio-economic development schemes are routed through district magistrate. routed through district magistrate, which can be linked to vulnerable sections, which can be linked to vulnerable sections like women, children, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, children, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, etc. Basically, let's say you can yourself understand or relate it. It is not a challenge. सिंपल आप समझो ऐसे कि मान लो कोविड क्राइसिस है ना, आफ्टर कोविड क्राइसिस यू नो दैट कि पीपल डाइड इन द फैमिली. Now district magistrate has to ensure welfare by releasing ex gratia help. The government gives various types of ex gratia help, you know that, and those help should reach out to people. So that can be the welfare related aspect. Plus some schemes and programs, it can be related to women, children, aged, widows, like this. Those schemes and programs are still routed through district magistrate, not through any other, let's say, that institution. So those things also he has to ensure. Plus he has to ensure that the grievances of people are redressed. That's why you know that some district magistrates have tried to focus on bringing development and welfare. They hold also open, let's say that meeting. There is also on Sunday open meeting. People can come share their grievance. They themselves reach out to people. There are various types of things, but in public administration, that way content is not written. So we don't want to tell that way. We don't have to write content, otherwise this becomes very small thing, right? Some district magistrate have taken some specific measures, if you see, like one, it is called Jitendra Kumar. Yes. Yes. So it is, let's say, he himself takes this initiative to address the problems of people. It is not a scheme, rather he himself takes initiative, and in 300 schools he ensures that it has power supply, it has internet connection, people get also education during COVID time. So that kind of, let's say, things ensured. That is now a Rajasthan model. Yes, Rajasthan government is following this model to ensure that all schools in Rajasthan have the same kind of replication. So that can be, let's say, that you considered. There can be, let's say, one, we told in past, one Manipur, one district magistrate, Armstrong Palm, so 100-kilometer roads were constructed, let's say. So there are some examples, but in public administration, this way answers are not written. This should know that. Otherwise, then it becomes more of information. So welfare measures they have to take, redress the grievance. That is how we can consider. Now let's write next. Right. With regulatory function. Regulatory function. Regulatory function that district magistrate regulates the affairs of public. Regulates the affairs of public. Affairs of public, including licensing for arms in the district. Licensing for arms in the district. Next, electoral function. Electoral function. Electoral function that when elections are held, Lok Sabha Assembly and local bodies, it should be ensured that elections become free and fair. it should be ensured that elections become free and fair. Free and fair. Next, disaster management role. Disaster management role. Disaster management role. Under Disaster Management Act 2005, under Disaster Management Act 2005, district magistrate has been made chairperson of district magistrate has been made chairperson of district magistrate has been made chairperson of district disaster management authority. District disaster management authority. This authority is responsible for taking all measures, including disaster management plan, mock drills, mobilization of resources, mock drills, mobilization of resources, etc., for tackling any disaster, See, again we will elaborate when we'll talk Disaster Management Act there. So we'll elaborate a bit more, so no need to talk much. This, let's write. There are miscellaneous other functions. There are miscellaneous other functions at district level. Under various laws, policies and schemes. Of the government, of the union and state governments, including providing security to VIP movements, Overall, he is responsible for all the major developments in the district. Change paragraph. Since on the one hand, people have become more empowered and aware. On the other hand, the number of challenges has increased by manifold, including development and law and order challenges. His role has become very responsible. although power has reduced, power has reduced, so power has reduced, responsibility has increased. It has also happened due to, it has also happened, it has also happened due to lack of effective functioning of local self governments, and decentralization of powers, and decentralization of powers, right, that both union and state governments, both union and state governments, right, have neither fully disempowered district administration, neither fully disempowered district administration, nor fully empowered local self-governments, fully empowered local governments. Hence, there remains a dilemma. What should be done? There remains a dilemma. What should be done? Like first, should district magistrate be empowered and made head of district administration, based on the concept of unity of command, which was in practice during British time. Next, should district magistrate be made as chief executive officer, CEO of an elected body at district level, known as district council. Next, if none of the above two, then what should be the exact none of the above two, then what should be the power arrangement? Between district administration and local self-government, so that there is streamlining in power and functions, rather than duplication of efforts. The present scenario is not acceptable, which is like, first, district magistrate has more functions, less powers. Next, there is institutional jungle. At district level. Institutional jungle at district level. Forest मत लिखना. ऑक्सफोर्ड को एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा कि जंगल भी टर्म होता है. Oxford dictionary I am talking, isn't it? There is institutional jungle at district level, which seriously affect effective democratic governance. Change paragraph. In such scenario, the district remains still a symbol of British administration, rather than a new polity which was adopted. In 1947. See, what we are trying to see is a summary we want to tell, since we'll tell you all these questions. Once we'll finish Panchayati Raj institutions, so you can again revisit such questions. And we guess you'll be able to answer them. This is not acceptable situation, that you give less power and then they have more functions. Right? Any such thing you do, you want that district magistrates should do that. You should know that. Let's laughable things. Under transgender bill, so permission will be taken from district magistrate. If a person is a transgender, he wants to get his gender as a third gender, तो permission कौन देगा? District magistrate. Now he is a doctor also and psychologist also. Right. No doubt on the advice of CMO. But why not CMO? Why district magistrate? The administrative role you are increasing. Then under farms bill also, he has been given and he will decide the cost of the produce. So another function you have given. So that way you will find that then in case of this called anti-conversion law also, under anti-conversion law, those who want to convert, first they will have to inform to district magistrate. Then he will see कि ये true love है कि नहीं. वैसे भी अभी माहौल कुछ और ही चल रहा है, isn't it? Kerala story. So that will find this. So this is what we'll know, that all these things, these are not peripheral things. ये बहुत ही peripheral चीजें हैं, आपके पास टाइम ही नहीं है. You have to give, let's say that security to VIP movement. VIP movement हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ VIP movement चल रहा है आपके यहाँ, राइट? कुछ ना भाई, मान लो एटलीस्ट MP साहब ही आए हैं, नहीं तो MP साहब नहीं है तो मिनिस्टर साहब आए हैं, राइट? मिनिस्टर भाई, यूनियन स्टेट दोनों में से कोई ना कोई तो पहुंचता ही होगा, isn't it? तो कोई मिनिस्टर आया है और मान लो चीफ मिनिस्टर आ गया तब तो, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर का आना है तो 6 महीने पहले से प्रिपरेशन शुरू, isn't it? वेरी चैलेंजिंग, कुछ भी हो जाएगा तो जॉब भी जा सकती है। तो फॉर 6 months, as long as प्राइम मिनिस्टर विजिट्स देयर, यू विल नॉट डू एनीथिंग एल्स। है अभिनाथ, पूछो कुछ, बाद में पूछना। तो ऐसे ही होगा, isn't it? बिकॉज क्यों है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर आने वाला है, वी हैव टू एंश्योर बंदोबस्त, बस। और पता ही है कि when they visit, उनके लिए नया स्टेज बनाया जाता है, ठीक है, नया स्टेज बनता है बस, ताकि डिस्टेंस मेंटेन रहे। सोचो पब्लिक मनी का कितना बेकार होता है, लेकिन कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। स्टेज बनाते हैं फिर तोड़ देते हैं, वो टेम्परेरी होता है, बट इतना मजबूत होना चाहिए कि गिरे नहीं। बट ये सब कौन काउंट करता है? पैसा, लेट्स से पब्लिक मनी है सब, बट स्टेज लंबा होना चाहिए, isn't it? Anyhow, so these movements plus security aspect, ऐसे ही आप देख लो, बहुत सारा ऐसा चल रहा है, security angle. So they are highly busy functioning. In fact, can they focus on development? They cannot focus on development. That's why you cannot have development through them. Plus they are bureaucratic institutions, bureaucratic body. You can be a good person, that does not matter. But you do not have time, you are not meant for that. You are meant for stability, order, security, all these things, which are even more challenging. This. So that is how attempt has been made to separate it. Plus development should happen by people. It's a democratic process, not a bureaucratic process. There is no any model in the world where bureaucracy plays the role in terms of development process. So since we do not have, so that is how we have tried it, but other institutions have not become strong. And then somehow the situation happens, when they are not strong, and a chief minister comes to power, and they are not strong, he will not make them strong. Rather, those who are strong, they will support. The district magistrate is a strong person. So you know that making PRIs etc. will take time, and you don't have time. This result into this kind of cycle. When chief ministers come, so they will rely more on district magistrate. Yes. So by default, you can say, by direct or indirect, whatever you can say, somehow it happens that you prefer district administration through district magistrate. But on the other hand, जब आपको 3-tier स्ट्रक्चर याद आता है तो फिर आप लंबा लंबा भाषण देते हैं, नहीं, ग्राम स्वराज, विलेज रिपब्लिक, महात्मा गांधी, दिस सेल्फ गवर्नेंस. So we glorify it, isn't it? There should be self-governance. People should govern themselves. The development should be Jan Andolan. So that also you want to promote. अब जब उस तरह के आप, let's say कि rhetorics you are promoting, that you will have to take some steps. Then you take some steps like for them. So situation has remained like this. Then we are in a large situation, in a dilemma situation. What we should do? If we make district magistrate as head of the district administration, then it becomes bureaucratic. You don't want to go back. This already you know the bureaucratic era. And if you are not making him head, formal head, then there are parallel heads. That is called institutional jungle. There are parallel institutions at district level. In fact, district administration, a district is a headless institution. It has no any one head, formally defined head. When it has no formally defined head, so then district administration is presumed as head. This, he is presumed as head. This situation. So some of the institutions you have health society, education society, Jila Parishad, that we have, plus district magistrate, which we'll talk when we'll take out thereafter. That is how a situation happened. Hence, another radical recommendation is, can we adopt an elected aspect? Elected functionary can we have? That is called district council. So as of now, you don't have any election at district level. Rather, you have the two parallel situations: Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies. The urban local bodies are for urban areas, PRIs are for rural areas. So there is a dichotomy between them. It's not that they are in hierarchy. So they are elected, but they are only having jurisdiction as per their area. So elected institutions cannot become head, and you do not want to make district magistrate as head. The ARC second has recommended, can there be a district council? The district council will be an elected institution, directly elected by people. Means, can we have a district level, a person who is directly elected? Are we prepared for that? We are not prepared for that, because we are bureaucratic. We are prepared to have one charismatic IAS officer. No, a central appointee, and some of them have no experience of rural India, isn't it? Once they become IAS, then they start knowing rural India. So rather than serving to people, they serve to themselves first. Right? Isn't it? Because you have to know rural India, right? Its nuances, right? Anyhow, so you have made an administrator who does not know, right? Someone who has, let's say that, born and brought up in Delhi, and he gets UP cadre. Right? So you know what will happen? No, Nupur Goyal, right? She is born and brought up in Delhi. She has UP cadre, I guess. Anyhow, she will learn more about rural India. Anyhow, right? So many a time it becomes like novices. Novices becoming administrators. And by the time they learn this transfer, post is changed, now SDM to DM. That is how it happens. Anyhow, but there are challenges from bureaucratic perspective also. If you do not make bureaucracy as a head, then you have huge challenges. And if you made bureaucracy as head, it is a bureaucratic model. So we are in a dilemma what we should do. So you don't have to do. Just way forward you have to write an answer. That's all. Right. So इसलिए कि गवर्नमेंट को भी कुछ नहीं करना है, ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा. After 9 years, another commission will be set up. RC3. No. And it will give another innovative recommendation. So when we start teaching ARC3, not ARC2. That is the only change. No. The Sarkaria Commission is gone. You have Punchi Commission. Because already it is very old recommendation, 2009, 2023. Hardly अब कोई बात करता है. So this is what we can say. This is what we can say on district administration.